An excuse mindset would be something that is where if you don't have the perfect hack, right? If you're not using the perfect system, if you don't have grass-fed butter in the morning, you think your whole performance has gone to shit. That was probably my mindset, and I saw that with a lot of other players, and it can be detrimental. So I want to tell you today how to um, use nutrition to get better without having it hold you back. So what hacks are there? There's Tim Ferriss. You've heard of his slow carb diet, and he has a tripling testosterone protocol. Charles Poliquin is really well known for his hormone manipulation type things like his meat and nut breakfast. Paul Chek is all about holistic eating. He talks a lot about gut health and tying into your emotional and spiritual centers. Dave Asprey, he's the maker of the Bulletproof Coffee and Bulletproof Diet. He's big into biohacking. John Kiefer is kind of what I've adapted for carb backloading. And one of the biggest things that I find is a big issue in hockey because of the culture of pasta, I don't know why, is something called rebound hypoglycemia. And so if I'm going to tell you, one thing to try and stay away from, it would be this. This was the enemy of my career because of this. I had a ton of low energy before games, and it's kind of counterintuitive to what the drone common myths are, which is that when you eat carbs, pasta, the idea is that you get energy, supposedly. But what people don't realize is that when you have carbs before a certain time of the day, and that's kind of like 5, 6 p.m., you have something called rebound hypoglycemia, which is you get a period of low blood sugar after eating those carbs, and it results in feelings of fatigue. So when you're having a high carb meal just before a game, it can often lead to this. Now, when I was younger, this wasn't a problem, but as I got older into my teens and 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, this was prevalent, and I didn't understand it. And now some people can have carbs and feel much better, but most people I've found have a ton of carbs before games because they're told it's good, and they, as a result, get this rebound hypoglycemia. So my solution to that has been become a fat-adapted athlete. Burn fat for fuel, and as a result, you're going to get improved coordination, alertness, and muscle synchronicity, and just general energy. And it's also, in a second, I'll explain how it's easier to also put on muscle. So what I recommend is just this. On training competition days, eat as much food as you want. And before competition and training, eat all the greens you want, all of the proteins and fats you want, so meats, nuts, oils, and other fats. And then after competition, basically eat whatever the hell you want, as long as there's carbs in it. Now, this is counterintuitive because everyone says, oh, you need carbs for energy. You're right, you do. But carbs are stored as energy in the days prior to your competition, if that makes sense. So if you want carbs stored in the 2-3 days in advance, you want to be having carbs in the evening before, and have basically as much as you want if you're an athlete. And so on non-training days, you'd eat an unlimited amount of food as well because you're an athlete. Before 5 p.m., you'd kind of follow the pre-training guidelines, and after 5 p.m., you can eat all the carbs you want. Now, I've 80-20'd this. There's a much more technical approach called carb backloading, but I've 80-20'd this for athletes to make it easier to eat. So what this does is it makes you fat adapted, and it's going to prevent rebound hypoglycemia. And it might take a few days or weeks to get used to, but it solves that problem, and it's also going to help with body composition issues. Now, if your goal is to burn fat and build muscle, or improve your digestive health or alertness of energy, there are protocols to follow for that. These are optimization things. What I'm aiming to do here is to simplify, to give you the mindsets and systems to eat pretty well. To have the fuel mindset instead of an excuse mindset. When you start tinkering with these very specific formulas, you sometimes can find yourself going into an excuse mindset, and I don't want to see any players repeat my mistakes. So just in review, I'd like to remind you that I'd love for you guys to use nutrition as fuel, not as an excuse. I don't condone eating like crap, but I'm telling you that eating like crap is not going to ruin your performance. And I know you're not used to being told that, but that's because I'm not a drone.